Hi, it's KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guest today is Steve Shanley, man of many hats, but in the summertime, the director of the Cedar Rapids Municipal Band. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you, Dennis.
Usually we get together, because this is week 3 of the season.
This is week 3. We missed the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, both of us managed to forget that we do this all the time, and it was only when your mom called you up and said, "Why aren't you on the Culture Crawl?"
Yeah, you know who never forgets is Mary Beth Shanley. She does not forget. So thanks, Mom, for reminding us that we needed to get our act together and schedule these interviews.
Lest we attract the wrath of Mary Beth.
We do not want to do that, no.
We do not. Well, let's start with how the first couple of weeks been.
Rainy, but
see, and I was out of town, so I don't really have I don't have much yardstick to know what's been going on.
Yeah, the good news and the bad news. The bad news is it's been raining, so our first week on Sunday, we had to, at the last minute, move indoors, which we will do when we have kind of a one-off event like the Metro Youth Wind Ensemble, who had been assembled and practicing only for that event. Linn-Mar High School graciously let us use their space. But then, unfortunately, this past Wednesday, we were rained out and unable to play our second Wednesday in a row at Kingston Yard. Our very first performance of the year was week 1, Kingston Yard, and it was a huge hit. It was so great. We were a little worried about, if the parking was going to work, and that stage is basically big enough for our percussion section. So everyone else had to set up down in the grass, and we kind of wondered how that would go. But it was an idyllic evening, and we are so excited to have this partnership with them. Also hoping to just kind of make things a little bit easier on the patrons, knowing that, pretty much every Wednesday we're going to try and be at Kingston Yard, and the Sundays we're going to rotate between Bever and Ellis. And again, decision not taken lightly to kind of switch from what we had been doing. But the musicians and the audience members so far have discovered that being in the shade is really nice. So, I love Knoll Ridge Park. I remember going there when I was a kid for the concerts, but especially post-derecho. At 7:30, it's still pretty brutal out in the sun. And so we're excited about the comfort level, and then the amenities, of course, nearby Kingston Yard. We're excited to help support those businesses and hopefully reach out to some new audience members.
But you've only been there once.
But we've only been there once.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed for this Wednesday. It looks like a little bit of rain earlier in the day, but we'll hope it holds out for us for the evening.
So what's on the program?
Well, this week we're featuring Lisa Wissenberg, one of our first clarinet players and also clarinetist with Orchestra Iowa and teaches with me at Coe College. So she's playing a new piece that James Stevenson composed that I believe Lisa was part of the consortium of individuals and schools who helped finance this, and it's called the Barcelona Clarinet Concerto, and we're playing the first movement of that. So it's going to be really cool to feature Lisa on that. We heard from her a few years ago on Victor's theme from the Terminal that John Williams wrote, and excited to welcome her back on that. By the way, what's your take on the Terminal? I loved it.
I really liked it.
That always gets like one of the lowest ranked Spielberg movies, right?
Even though Steven Spielberg, John Williams, Tom Hanks, it is not one.
Catherine Zeta-Jones, super charming. Yeah,
it is not one that people dig out when they say, "Oh, here's." I
mean, it's not E.T.
Yeah,
but
I love it, and I really love the jazz connection.
The jazz connection is pretty cool.
Spoiler alert! Benny Golson
appears at the end.
Appears at the end and plays a big role in this.
So anyway, if you like the Terminal and you like that music, we're not playing any of that this week. But anyway, I just was thinking about that because that's the last time Lisa soloed with the group. So featuring her, and then also a nice medley of music by Henry Mancini, who was a very popular film and television composer. And one of the pieces in the medley is Peter Gunn. And do you happen to know who played piano on that?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. A young Johnny Williams.
John Williams, yeah. So speaking of the terminal music.
Billed as Johnny.
As Johnny,
originally.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, I got his start as a session piano player, and some wonderful music in this medley, including Peter Gunn and the Pink Panther.
I was just going to say,
Rock.
for the younger people listening, Henry Mancini, the John Williams of his day.
Yes. Yeah, that's an excellent way of putting it, especially when we think about how prolific, but then also how varied the style was, that you hear some different things that, definitely do not sound the same. So very excited to play some of that music. And that would also be one of those, I would say, maybe for our younger listeners, you might think you have not heard of Henry Mancini or his music, and we'll start playing it and you'll say, oh, yeah, I know that one. So excited about that one. We got some Pixar movie favorites, and then a nice fanfare to celebrate Father's Day week by James Kurnow called Fanfare, a Prelude on God of Our Fathers. And then also this week on Sunday, we have Make Music Cedar Rapids Day,
yes, yeah.
which I know just enough to be dangerous about. My colleague at Co-College, Luke Lovegood, has been pretty involved with that, asked if the municipal band wanted to be involved, and I said, yes, what should we do? And he and some of the commissioners, Kelly Suela, came up with an idea that we would maybe teach the audience about march form, and members of the audience will get to come up and guest conduct. So one audience member will get to conduct the first strain, and another one will conduct the second strain, and then I'll kind of talk about this form that we have in the march. Usually we play 2 or 3 marches every week, and I thought, I didn't think, Kelly thought it would be a good idea if maybe I explained a little bit about that to the audience. So that's going to be on Sunday as part of Make Music Cedar Rapids Day, and then we'll do something kind of similar on the Wednesday concert at Kingston Yard as well.
So I had never really thought about march forms. And when I think of march, I just think, straight 4/4 time. Yeah. But as with everything else, there is way more to it than that.
There is. And that's really, every once in a while, someone will ask me about trying to write a march. And I think you and I have talked about this before with the conductor prior to my arrival, Frank Pearsall. He was a composer of marches. And one of the things that just really impresses me about his marches that he was writing in the 1970s, 1980s, even into the 90s, I believe, is that you have a pretty prescribed form. You've got a 4-measure introduction, you've got a first melody, a second melody, you've got a trio, and then, you play it out, and they all pretty much have to follow the same form. They all have to be in 2/4, and there's really only so many ways you can organize those notes in that format.
So you only got 12 notes.
You only got 12 notes, and when you constrain yourself to a key, you're looking at really only 7 or 8 of them. And Frank managed to come up with all of these really creative approaches to the march, and that's one of those things that I just, kind of like when I'm soloing on the piano for jazz, I really I hate soloing over the blues as much as anything, even though it's supposedly easy, just because I've heard so many masters do so many great things with that over the years that I just feel completely inferior every time I have to solo over the blues. Similar, someone says, hey, we'd like you to write a march. I'm like, anything but a march. That is too intimidating to try to do what Frank or Carl King or John Philip Sousa did. So we're going to talk to the audience about what it is that makes pretty much every march similar, besides just the fact that you can march along to it.
A little music theory lesson with the concerts this week.
Looking forward to it.
So we are June 17th at Kingston Yard, your new home.
Kingston Yard, and that one we've got the Cedar Rapids Youth Flute Ensemble that Amy Kraplin, our one of our commissioners and librarian and flute section member and band director in the Linn-Mar School District. She's leading that, and that will start at 6:30, weather permitting. And then our concert on the Kingston Yard stage will begin at 7:30. And then on Sunday, we'll be at Bever Park for the first time since our first Bever Park appearance got rained out.
Okay, June 21st at Bever Park. And next week, back here at KCCK to talk about week number 4.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Dennis.
If people want to find, they need weather information, for example, or want to know, make sure the concert's on or all that kind of stuff, they can find you on Facebook and also on your website, which is
crmuniband.org. And yeah, Facebook is probably the best place to go. Rob Klein does a great job keeping that updated, and also very humorous updates as well.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks.
You can hear the Culture Crawl live on the radio most weekdays at 10:30, on demand at kcck.org/culture, or subscribe using your favorite podcast player. Watch our videos on the KCCK Facebook and YouTube channels. Our producer is Lydia Kilgore. The Culture Crawl theme is composed by Vivian Shanley. I'm Dennis Green, and I'll talk to you later.